I think people are often very low on their own to-do lists. There's the children. If you're a teacher, there's the students, the family. And so I'll sometimes tell people you need to go a little bit higher on your own to-do list. Then there are very just simple things that people sometimes forget, particularly in the winter, like hydration. I'll say to my clients teasingly, what oil is to the tin man, water is to us.
Welcome back to the Women of Fort Mill podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Leah Williams. And as you know, this podcast is all about spotlighting incredible women in our community who are building businesses, creating change, serving others, and living in their gifts. So today, I'm really excited to introduce to our community, Sarah Allers, the owner of Massage Works. Sarah has an incredible story, and we'll unpack it more with her. But she's got 19 years of experience as a massage therapist and really brings a unique perspective to wellness. And her incredible background as a competitive runner, she even competed in the Olympic trials and later worked as a massage therapist at the Olympic track and field trials. So Sarah's super passionate about helping people feel better in their bodies, manage stress, and keep doing the things that we love without pain or burnout. So Sarah, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. I know I just highlighted, quick snapshot, but can you share with us more of your background, what led you to having this fierce passion for helping people in such a wonderful way, releasing stress and helping them avoid burnout? But share with us a little bit of your background and what led you to where you're at here.
Yes, well, I started out in life as a competitive runner, really as a little girl in England growing up. And when I came to America, I found that it was important as a competitive runner to think about health overall. Anyway, I wasn't familiar with massage, but after a particular event that I had done 5K years ago in Florida, I got what we call a freebie massage at the end of the race, and my legs felt amazing. And so I contacted the lady who did the massage and I went out to see her. She was further away from where I lived. And again, really, really enjoyed the massage. My legs felt super. And I got a message in my heart that said, you can have a long career in running if you add massage as part of your training. So I always saw massage as part of training and not necessarily a spa experience. Now we're going back. I'm 65 now. So we're going back to my 20s.
Oh,
yes.
You look amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So over the years, I was a military wife for 25 years. And during that time, we traveled to different states and I would look for obviously good races to run, but a good massage therapist. And so that was very, very helpful to me. So I think I got a hand in glove fit to the idea of massage as being so helpful. And different therapists that I met over the years, some became friends and they would say, you'd be good at this. And I think, what are they talking about? I'm the one getting the massage. I wasn't looking further into the future at that point, but it has been a wonderful experience. And it came to me firsthand through my own physical racing and body, if you will.
Well, you've had a long career of not only being an avid runner, but now an advocate for health and wellness. What do you see in the health and wellness space, both good and maybe some just misunderstandings or things that people assume about massage or health and wellness that really aren't true, now that you're in it and living it as both personally and professionally? What are some of the things that you see where you'd say, this is what people think, but this really isn't the case?
Right. Functionality of a massage. The idea that you're coming in to almost get a tune-up. We wouldn't let our tires go flat. We get our car tuned up. And the body needs little tune-ups. And sometimes people are looking just for a spa experience. I had a small period of time where I worked in a spa in upstate New York, and I kept asking the client when they came in, is there anything that's bothering you? Because I want to solve problems that they're having versus just floating away. Now, that said, a massage should be very relaxing. But I think people don't always understand that it can be more than just a relaxation. It can bring about an outcome based on any aches and pains that they're having. And so health is being more emphasized these days because the medical community, once you get into just pure doctors and medicine, can be very, very expensive, can be very off-putting when there are things that we can naturally do to support our body. And so you see people venturing into naturopathic things, into chiropractors, as it were, massage therapy as well. And I think it's good to look at all of those things and see if they're a good fit for you. And that's something that I'll discuss with clients when they come in. Where are they physically? What are they doing? What could they be doing?
What are your thoughts? I'm going kind of off topic here, but what are your thoughts on massage? You mentioned that yes, you can have a relaxing experience, but you can also start to solve problems and support the body. So in my mind, there's two different kinds of massage. There's the just the light touching, like, oh, this felt good, I feel more relaxed now. And then there's the deep tissue, which a lot of people notice extremely painful. I know this is good for me and I'm doing it. Is there a good middle ground between those, or what have you seen, or what do you typically lean in more so towards? Do you have to have all the pain to have all the benefit, or
No, I'm
there
so
a
glad
good
you asked that question. After I'd left school, I decided to take a deep tissue class because all I kept hearing was deep tissue, deep tissue, deep tissue. And I thought, well, how am I going to last years in this industry if I'm constantly, as it were, pounding on people? And so what I found in the first class I took was that the teacher was saying only work to your client's discomfort level, that you can say 1 is super light and 10 is really deep and so on and so forth. What I discovered in my own practice was that I should engage the muscle tissue and I should warm it up thoroughly. Then I should sink in where the muscles allow me to go. But I've had people literally pound on me as a younger athlete, and you always have clues if your client is uncomfortable. Their shoulders might raise a little bit, their hands may become fists, and I have made it quite clear to my clients, listen, I'm not going to beat you up. If you want something that's really going to have you ow all over the table, I'll try to refer you to somebody else. But I think that I should engage the muscle tissue. Your nervous system should be calm. You shouldn't be wondering, oh no, when's that elbow going to hit my glute again?
Yes.
Right? And so
I've been there before, like,
yeah, I would say I'm subtle deep. I'll get there, but I'm going to do it through warming up the tissue and letting the muscles know, in a sense, they can trust me.
Oh, I would love that approach, because I think that some of us we've had both sides in the massage. And for me, I'm always thinking about efficiency. So I'm thinking, okay, can I be relaxed, but can I also have great benefits to my body? And so sometimes I've leaned in towards let's be more aggressive, because I'm like, I've got to make the most out of this time. And if I'm in pain, but if there's an opportunity to help the body, but not force your way in, but see what it allows you to do.
Yes.
And like you said, warm it up. And yeah, I love that approach, because it means that I could enjoy the time as well instead of just being in pain and know that, oh, this is good for me, and just push through.
Exactly. So you don't want somebody coming in already in pain and then adding more stress to their pain. I don't believe in no pain, no gain in that respect, that you can gently bring a person back into homeostasis, because in massage, you're actually engaging the nervous system, and the governor of the body is basically the brain. So I'll tell my clients, your body is assessing everything I'm doing. So if it's nice and relaxed, it's going to stay there. If I start out very intense, the body's going, oh, okay. Now there are very, very few. There's a small percentage of people that literally, for whatever reason, seem to really want this deep, 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 intense pressure. I don't find it productive. Most people's nervous systems are already, oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong with me, why I've got this sciatic nerve pain in my bum. I need it to go away. Yes. So you don't just throw fire on fire.
Yes. Well, and knowing that people are walking in already semi-fried from a nervous system perspective, what a wonderful approach. And it's more inviting to people. I think myself included are much more open if we know that you're going to be aligned with the body. And everybody's body's going to allow you to do different things and different levels of pressure based on the state that it's in.
Exactly.
So leaning into that and being very intuitive, knowing how to sense what each person needs. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with the marathon trials in the 90s? What was that like? How is it different compared to today? And do you feel like how we've advanced and how I feel more open as a society we are to a deeper meaning of health and wellness, not just on the surface level, but how are things different now, especially for athletes? Because you lived it. I mean, you were still an athlete, but you saw it firsthand.
Yes. Well, funnily enough, the Olympic trials that I went to was 30 years ago this week, and such a long time ago. And in a way, I think it was my Olympics, because they'll take the top 3 contenders, the top 3, first, second, and third, and then you've got about 200 other women in the field. To be at that Olympic trials level, you do have to dot your I's and cross your T's. That means I got weekly massage because I was running in preparation for the race up to 75 miles of training a week. That was actually lower than some of the elite women at the time. Some were running 100 and over 100 miles a week. But I had to stay true to myself. So good nutrition, good rest, good hydration, paying attention to those things. I think what I see now in athletics, particularly the marathon and high-level sports, is that technology's improved. So now you've got sort of super shoes, these big carbon shoes that are very fluffy, that I prefer a minimalist shoe still to this day. You've got that kind of support. You've got your GPS watches that have totally, they'll even monitor your sleep. You know, you've got all sorts of things at hand that I didn't have back then. I don't believe we even had very special goos and things that you take on board for your, as it were, nutrition. I ran for Powerbar for about 25 years, and I would actually test some of the very first gels that they introduced, but I never used them myself in a marathon because it was sort of not the dark ages, but it was certainly, 30 years ago, things have advanced and changed. Yeah.
Well, coming from that background and experience, I'm so happy that you had people around you encouraging you to pursue this, because who better to work on someone and help them understand how their body works than someone that has done this for years and years and has not only firsthand experience on what extreme levels of training versus maybe the mom that's coming in that has a fried nervous system. You know, your spine is tilted because you're carrying a baby for years.
Exactly.
On one side.
Yes.
And you can connect with and resonate with all these different types of people that need help. What are the people that you find with your current practice and the areas that you specialize in? What is the typical profile for someone, and what does it look like working with you in cadence? And are they seeing you a couple times a week, or what does it look like?
It depends really on what they're coming in with. One of the most common things that I've seen, it's fascinating actually, the number one thing I would say I see in my practice is people will present with lower back pain. Oh, my back's just killing me. But actually their pelvis is out of alignment. Their hips are out of alignment. And one of the things that I was trained well in upstate New York, where I went to school for massage, was balancing the pelvis, the hips, front and back. Because your pelvis is your center of balance. And if you're off, then you're going to actually feel a little off balance, to be honest. So that is something that I really pay attention to when people come in. You talk about a baby with a mom on her hip. That's a classic way for the hips to get out of alignment. If you're athletic and running, it might be that you're running on a crooked or banked surface. If you are sitting at your desk for hours and hours, but you tilt your chair a certain direction, or if you're going on long drives with your job, then the way you have to sit in the car with one leg extended is going to tilt those hips a little bit. It doesn't take much. So what I want to do is take a full assessment when people come in. What's going on? How long have you had the pain? We want to do a customized outcome-oriented massage to you. So even though the pain and the issues may be in the back, very often, the source of the pain isn't the pain. I have to go and troubleshoot the rest of the body like a jigsaw puzzle. But it's interesting, and I call that muscle puzzle solving.
Yes. As you're talking, I'm just checking boxes in my head. That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
All of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, even from, I don't know, you can definitely tell things are out of line because how I walk, if I wear high heels a lot, how the heel kind of rubs off the bottom of it is very weird. People are like, what is wrong with how you walk? And I'm sure that is a representation of how out of alignment I am. So when you assess someone, could you tell me the difference between where you might identify, okay, this is more chiropractic versus massage and how I can adjust things? How do people know the difference? I mean, obviously coming to you, you can tell them, but what are some signs that, you know what, massage is really the best approach for this, or you need another professional to help fix this issue for you?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll always tell people, muscles are attached to bones. If you're only seeing a chiropractor and your muscles are extremely tense, you won't hold your adjustment. You'll be in and then maybe just driving away. Gosh, my back still feels creaky. But anyway, it may not last longer than 2 or 3 days. Most chiropractors today notice that massage therapy and chiro go hand in hand. My recommendation is get your muscles loosened up first, and then you'll almost fall into your adjustment because nothing's torquing and pulling the muscles out of alignment if they're already relaxed. They're not going to yank on the bones, and you'll get the most out of it by massage first, and then a couple of days later go and see your chiropractor if that's what you're used to. And most chiropractors these days will actually recommend that as well.
Well, of course, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all the things. My husband has had a lower back bodybuilding injury for so many years. And he goes to the chiropractor, and I told him, like, you would so love a massage. And I don't even know when the last time he went, but this whole time I'm thinking, how much better could these adjustments be held for him? And how much more relief would there be? Do you find that there's a community of athletes that know this? Or, I mean, do people know these things that you're talking about? Clearly, I don't. But is it common knowledge? Or when people come in, do you find that, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know that I needed both. Am I the only one?
No, you're definitely not. Absolutely not. Runners tend to know this, but I don't see as many runners up here in Fort Mill as I did when I had my business in Columbia, because I was part of the running community there. And in fact, my husband, who also races, and I drive back down the road to compete still with our people there. So I really, most of my runners were educated in that because they want to keep on running. For other folks, they don't necessarily know that, but it's very helpful to share that sort of information with them because it can be a 1-2. Sometimes it's purely muscular. Their bones are fine. It's just that life is tense. And for your husband, for example, he's got repetitive use injuries that have built up. Why? Because he's done certain things again and again and again. And believe it or not, muscles have memory in as much as they hold a bad pattern if they're told to do it enough. So if I go to the gym, I'm not going to the gym to go, hey, I'm getting really loose here. I'm going to the gym to get tight and buffy and all the rest of it, right? And so what's happening is it's sort of stress icing on the stress cake because you're tightening your muscles even more. And so massage is great because in essence, massage is a stretch for your body. Not the typical stretch that you might see a runner do, but I'm feeling the tension of the muscles and trying to restore them to their natural length again. So if you picture a curled up fist, ow, and then lengthening out the muscles. That's the way to do it.
Well, do you see that when people come into you, we all know that emotions are stored in the body. And especially over the last few years, I've spent so much more time learning and understanding not just surface level health and wellness, but what's really going on in the body. How does different kinds of modalities and therapies help your overall wellness, including your emotional wellness? I can recall a couple of times when I've gotten a massage where almost felt like crying. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Do you find that there's emotional release as you start to loosen up muscles? Do you feel like that's also one of the benefits that comes from this?
Most certainly. There's a very important aspect of helping a person who is holding stress in their bodies, and the different reasons for the stress people will often share, and it's a very sacred trust. I've always felt that God's given me the message, massage is a sacred trust. Somebody's coming in, it's somewhat vulnerable to them, they haven't met you before, you want to put them at ease, give them a sense of confidence and peace. And as questions are asked, I'm able to answer them. Well, how do you manage your stress, Sarah? Well, for me, I journal and I pray and I try not to overthink. Big thing with me is overthinking whatever problems or stress are presenting. We saw a lot of stress coming out of COVID. That was where I began to see, because massage and other industries had to shut down for a point of time. And in that, when people came back in, there was a lot of fear still left over and so on. So I would try to convey different stories in my own life to relate to the people that were feeling anxious or upset, or is this thing ever going to go away? And just bring a calm assurance. But you do so from your toolkit. I can't comfort with something I haven't walked in. I can do my best, but we can really comfort when we've been comforted. We've gone through a thing. And often you just find familiar threads and just try to speak into those kindly and honestly. But yes, people sometimes will have a cry, especially if there's ladies that might be going near menopause and it's an emotional time of their life. Sometimes ladies who've not long had a baby and it's natural and normal, but it doesn't feel normal to the person going through it. So I try to help normalize some of the things that people feel anxious about.
Which is so wonderful, because you're right. It's such a personal thing. You're in close proximity, and with the right person, it feels very, you feel really comfortable and like you can just enjoy and melt into the massage, as opposed to, oh, this is uncomfortable. And the presence that you have, we're just meeting virtually here, and there's a calm and a confidence that helps transfer over to people, which I think is a gift that you have. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. What are some of the things that you've maybe realized recently that you wish you would have known early on, or just some of the lessons that you've learned in this business ownership journey that have helped you, not just on the professional side, but personally? Do you mind sharing?
Yeah. So years ago, podcasts were never a thing. This is my first ever, and I'm very excited because I would have thought a little bit about how do you advertise effectively. In the times that I've done advertising, maybe through a newspaper, we're talking years ago, it wasn't terribly effective. And I was thinking, well, how do you make things effective? So one of the things I've done is with social media, I'll do about every week to 10 days, something I call the massage message. And it's never more than a minute because you don't want to lose people. They don't need to glaze over and be bored. But I'll just address something, whether it's the neck or the hips, a part of the body, or I'll talk about stress, things that somebody might relate to, and to try to boost my own business a little bit. And so they can see me and hear me for 60 seconds if anybody's paying attention on Facebook or I guess Instagram. So that's one way that I would think about getting at least the advertising out. Go to where it's most done. Go to the format that's available that people are going to use, basically. So as far as massage therapy itself, it's a very simple little business. I don't have people under me. I have to order sheets when I need them and get good supplies of creams and lotions and so on and so forth. But it doesn't have a big overhead. So in that way, it's very simple. You just find a good space that you feel is right for you to rent the room, and there you go. And I love the simplicity of it. It's not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? Having a good CPA for me is good just because I don't like numbers and math, and he can work that out. But because it is a simple business, I call my business the little engine. It keeps going down the track. It's not making massive amounts of money, but it's helping to pay some of my bills, and that's great. But I also don't feel like I'm working. I'm going to work. It's like I get to do this, and I have a real enjoyment about it. I haven't really worked a day doing massage.
Well, the massage therapist that I talk, I mean, it is physically demanding, you know, because you were putting your all into it. And while you're super passionate about it, so of course you feel like, oh, this doesn't work. I get to do this. But I mean, it's a pretty physically demanding role. And you're also talking with people and helping them not only feel comfortable to share, but you're kind of like a therapist as you're learning about people share with you all these things. And I'm sure sometimes you're like, oh, didn't need to know all of this, but it's such an important role, and it takes someone with a certain skill set and set of gifts in my mind. Like, not everyone could do what you're doing, do it well, and have people feel comfortable. So it does give you a unique position to serve and help people. And I'm excited. I'm like, I would experience this. I want my husband too, because when you feel good, there's different levels of living. And I think a lot of us live in this one base level, and we don't explore all these other versions, which when we are full of life and well, and our body's operating how it should, life looks different. It feels different. And sometimes we don't ever experience that because we're just in this burnt out, overtired, maxed out nervous system. And we're like, well, this is just how it is. And it doesn't have to be that way. So is there any advice that you would give to people at whatever stage of life? Because we all have stressors in different areas, but any advice that you would give, knowing what you know about the body, wellness, and what it needs to function optimally?
Great question. I think people are often very low on their own to-do lists. There's the children. If you're a teacher, there's the students, the family. And so I'll sometimes tell people you need to go a little bit higher on your own to-do list. Then there are very just simple things that people sometimes forget, particularly in the winter, like hydration. I'll say to my clients teasingly, you know, what oil is to the tin man, water is to us. Our bodies are made up of over 70% water. And many people come in dehydrated. Well, that's going to cause fogginess, very tight muscles. There's a big, big difference. And so there are simple little things that we can do. And if we can look at it like I'm investing in my body, I'm going to help my body. I'm not trying to get people in every week by any stretch. If nobody ever had an ache or pain in their body, I wouldn't have a business. But you don't need to overdo things. I, again, speak of it as maintenance. So if your hips are really out of alignment, they've been out of alignment for a long time, it creates a false leg length difference where you will scuff the ground on one side more than the other. If you come in and you're a couple of inches out of whack, then I may say, let's do another session next week so that we can bring you down to an inch that will hold, and then on you go into maintenance mode. It's really about listening with your ears, your hands, and your heart. All of the above, because there's an emotional level, so that's the heart level. What's going on behind some of the stress? They may be going through a divorce or a move, and those are very high on the stress factor. Numbers, I think they say, is 10 if you're moving, that kind of thing. Different things need different sorts of attention. And then my hands are just assessing. They're just feeling, okay, the client's never wrong. So if somebody comes in and says, my shoulders are killing me, it could be stemming from the hips, but it's manifesting in their shoulders. So never once has a person been wrong. But then they're very surprised when I go, well, actually, some of the things that are bothering you are a bit lower down. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know my left glute was tight, you know. And so it becomes an education as well, where I'm imparting bits of information. I'm not a doctor, so I don't go out of my scope of practice. I don't say, oh, you've got plantar fasciitis. I can't do that. I might say that sounds and feels like when I had it, but I'm not saying that's what you got. So you try to stay in your lane and offer the wealth of information that you've gleaned over the years of doing it.
Yes. Well, can you share with people how they can get in touch with you? I think you have a special offer for listeners too. So what is that? And then how do they reach out to you? What's the best way to connect?
Absolutely. Well, for any new client coming in, I like to offer $10 off normally priced massage for an hour. And I can also do that for a 90-minute, $10 off of that too. So hopefully that helps everybody's budgets a little bit. And by the way, I can work with budgets. If people really need a massage, I'll work with them. I've been known to change my fees around if somebody's desperately in need, but their paycheck hasn't come yet or something. So most of the time, I have them just contact me either through Facebook under Sarah Allers, and you can see my little face here. So if you see the picture on there, you'll know. I have an Instagram, Tig's Bounces, because I love Tigger and Tigger's Bounce. Okay. So they can find me there. And those two are the main ways, because I put my website away after realizing 10, 11 years in, people weren't contacting me through that. And so I went, okay. And then word of mouth, of course. And if I can get my cards out there, I do that.
Yes. Well, Sarah, you're such a joy. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I care about stories. I care about the why behind things. And I think when other people understand, it no longer becomes this is something that I don't have time for. You start to feel like this is something that I have to do if I want to live a full life and be the best that I can be for myself and kids and spouse. You were right. We just put ourselves so low on the list.
We do.
It's not even on the list. So it was a great encouragement, not only to me, but to everyone. And what I would encourage all the women listening, if you connected with anything that Sarah said, if you're a person that's like me thinking, yeah, I've dealt with this for a long time, this pain or this discomfort, but just kind of brush it to the side. It doesn't ever go away. It just, if anything, gets worse. So share this episode with another mom or another woman that you feel would resonate with this. We love bringing on women that are just passionate about what they do and share the gifts that they've been given with others. And it really changes people's lives. So thank you again so much for sharing your story.
You're so welcome.
Give Sarah a follow, reach out to her. And thank you so much for listening to the Women of Fort Mill podcast. It's just such a pleasure to spread joy, spread goodness, and share the stories of the women truly making a difference. So until next time, we will see you soon. Have a great day.
Bye.